This your boy CZARR of JASPERRA in the building. All rights reserved for humanity. Commenternation, greatest nations, United Nations. Let's talk about this. Now, again, I want to put some focus on something real quick. So we spoke about the Jenesis thing, and that's what we're going to speak about at a later date. I don't want to shed no more light on that until I shed it on it the right way I'm trying to. But think about it. A suspect walked in lawyered up to the top, from top to bottom, ready, after he was ducking and running for some reason, since he did not want to address what he was being called for. I don't know, maybe he was coached to do that. Maybe he was told to do that until the mastermind could actually help him out in a certain way. But let's get into Jenesis. As we know the story, I even posted the story in community. If you have not, go check community, check out the story people told. Now, I am starting to learn from evidence and education from people who work with the understanding of different scenarios and what they mean. So when I say that, I'm being told that she was, in essence, an abomination ritual. When I say that, I mean she was an underage girl and they found her strangled in the bathroom and say she hung herself. This is what they're saying, okay? Now, and it's deep, y'all. Even looking at her practices in certain situations of people she's around, think of what led to the situation of her having to go to a hotel in the first place. Money was stolen. It was saying $7,000 was stolen. No word on it ever being found. The people who allegedly would have potentially stolen it were taking her to that hotel. I want to ask you, now, their investigation into the situation was to a girl committed suicide. Did they do any investigation like a rape kit or anything to search for DNA? You notice how there's no news on that. You notice how there's no news on that. So you're telling me the guys just took her to a hotel, dropped her off, and she killed herself? That makes no sense. What we're really starting to investigate is the fact that maybe she was violated, and that's why she did that to herself, because she couldn't live with the shame of having bums violate her sexually. That's what the situation sounds more like to me. Some of you are rejects. She could not live with that. A reject that can't even make good music just violated me. And I can't get that back. And she was a young girl that came from trauma. So that sounds more right up the alley to me as a reason, not because she was drunk or whatever y'all were doing, because she was violated. So I'm supposed to believe these crabs on the bottom of the barrel were so eager, I'll drive her, X, I got it. And they tried to do nothing. Girls aren't flocking to the rejects. Girls aren't flocking to you. That's the truth. They don't have a lot of girls running to them, a lot of attention. So he won't mind if we partake in the girls he kicked out. Like, that sounds more normal to me. How about y'all? What do you think about that? That sounds more like a reason to me for a girl to do that. Not because she's drunk on pills, not because she feels bad about something, because we know she tried to contact her mother before it happened. So we know that. That don't sound right to me. It sounds more like the cowards took her, violated her, and she could barely live with it. Or there was an alleged situation where she fought back, she got strangled or something happened, and it had to be made to look like a suicide. That sounds more normal to the situation. How about you? What do you think? And this is from, I'm looking over the evidence, panning through it, panning through the story told. The fact the cop wrote this and accepted it, you're suspect, sir. You really accepted that as an officer of the law. You thought a younger, underage girl just decided to kill herself in a hotel room with other men in men age. You didn't even address that. The age of consent in Florida is low, but it's not 15-year-old low. I'm sorry, sir. No, that don't fly. So all this happened. None of you were arrested and y'all walked away. Did you offer the alleged officer mentioned some type of gratification in the situation so he would not tell? How did he not understand that? That makes no sense. Then they said that they tried to check in the room. She was in the bathroom with the light on. They left to get some food, came back. Like, yo, come on. Tell the truth. You were riding around for like 40 minutes before you even got to the hotel, according to your time frame that you told in the story. How didn't he catch that? Like, were you drunk, sir? You didn't catch that? That sounds crazy. I'm calling abomination ritual on this one. You guys did what you did. It was an underage girl, and it was another body under the belt for the family, whatever type of family unity you're calling, because we already know how minors are being abused. Come on. It's all in the information down there. The person's consistently picking up minors. We know this. What is it with underage girls and these guys that were around him? They couldn't go for women. They couldn't go for grown women. And I already can see it. Because when you look at some of y'all pictures, there's no way a grown woman would accept what you're putting down. Come on. What are you doing? She's not going to accept the guy who's real shady, drunk, getting high off pills, like just living YOLO and trying to sit over here talking that boss talk. Ain't never had a job in his life. Lived off of another man. Lived off his scraps. Let me correct it. Lived off another man's scraps to even be noticed. Really? That's what women like? Come on. Come on. We got to start seeing stuff for what it is and stop doing that talk about, yo, it wasn't like that. It was when you know you're a liar. If you're a liar and you can't stand on the truth, then why are you doing it? Why? Don't do crime. Yo, this sounds so corny. Don't do crime if you can't do the time. It's that simple, though. Y'all want to do everything under the sun, but scared to go to jail for the next 20 years. Like, just so weak. Just weak, man. You want to do the crime, but you don't want to go to jail for it. You don't want to risk getting caught, but you want to do everything that's illegal. It's called taking risks for a reason. Like, yo, what? The cop wanted something in exchange for hiding it? Like, the story is blatantly read at the crime scene to the investigation, and he magically doesn't arrest no one? Like, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. There's funny business written all over this. Funny business all over it. And with the details from other people, I'm being taught about this being an abomination ritual. Number one, it's an underage girl. Number two, she's into witchcraft and different things that we are acknowledging. Number three, we need to do this for such and such. That is exactly the way this story reads from front to back, top to bottom, period. Period. We've been looking over it for weeks. It just can't read any other way. And him letting you guys say that and sliding out like it wasn't important to address makes him suspect as an officer. Really, sir, what did they tell you to really confuse you? You didn't see the evidence in front of you? How did this short girl hang herself from this tall spot? How'd she wrap it around her neck? Why was she in here earlier and they didn't call earlier? Why were they waiting around and then decided to do it when they came back? Like, everything around it reads foul play. Foul play all over it. So to the officer I spoke to, sir, I hear you, but the story reads as it reads. I'm not going to lie about the story and how it reads because you don't want it to read that way otherwise than what that officer that I don't know whether you know him wrote it as, but I already spoke to judges and everything. They see what I see. What don't you see? How do you mistake it? How can't you see what we see? Didn't you have to bring this before a judge? Oh, that's right. You brought no one to court to even stand for it. You just ruled it a suicide and ran away to get drunk or whatever you went to do. Or did you get a favor done for you? And by this time, if you've been here long enough, we both know what favor that would have been. We both know what favor that would have been. Disgusting. Disgusting. Yo, it's JASPERRA checking in. Greatest nation since United Nations. All rights reserved. You know what I'm saying is true. You know what I'm talking about. It's a fact. You know it. That's why her parents were going so hard and y'all were acting so funny. Let's be real. Let's call it like it is. Did y'all do something? Did you join in perhaps? What went on? We know this girl didn't hang herself. Let's be real. She didn't choke herself out. Come on. Come on. Cut the dumbness. Cut it out. You've been on the force, and I know who it is. You've been on the force way too long to be making mistakes like that. You're funny style, and we're looking into it. Funny style. I hope you place your badge and your pride on that report you wrote because it has holes all throughout it. It's all messed up. There's so many things not accounted for. Hope you can stand by it, and I hope you got the proof. Period. All rights reserved.